Hey guys, welcome to Filmlab. I'm the Red Black Woman.
And I am Steven.
Great. Now, for some of you who don't know what we're about, we basically review movies and more on Filmlab. Yay. Alright, we are doing something interesting today. We're going to be reviewing a movie genre, supernatural horror. Very interesting, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, quite.
And it's not the typical horror. When people hear supernatural horror, it's not entirely, I wouldn't regard it as the typical horror, supernatural
with
horror.
jump scares and all that. No,
this
is a different type of horror.
Exactly. Now, what are we reviewing today? The name, When Evil Lurks.
When Evil Lurks. Yeah, that sounds eerie.
That's the soundtrack. Anyway, alright, When Evil Lurks. We're going to go on a quick short break, and when we come back, we're going to dissect When Evil Lurks, okay? Don't go anywhere. See you in a bit.
Hay un embichado en el pueblo.
Estás asustando a mi familia.
¡Lo vi con mis propios ojos! ¡Estuve con él! Esto va a ser un infierno.
Welcome back. This is your Film Lab, and we are about to dissect When Evil Lurks.
Yes, indeed.
Excited?
Yeah, pretty good.
All right.
Great film.
Great. So, When Evil Lurks is directed by Damien Rugner and is an international co-production of Argentina and the United States of America. Ooh,
Yeah.
Culture. Anyway, the film is a supernatural horror set in a small town plagued by a rotten.
That is as a being possessed by an evil entity awaiting physical birth, in case anyone didn't know what a rotten.
The good thing about this film is that it deals with the consequences of very poor decisions. Oh yeah. Especially poor decisions made by a particular man called Pedro. The film follows Pedro as he tries to get his family safely away from the town to prevent the birth of this evil entity. Unfortunately, Pedro is actually not a very smart man. This film does well by his character because Pedro genuinely feels and thinks that he's actually doing the right thing. But he goes from one poor decision to another poor decision, and the film keeps punishing him, and not just him, but him and everyone around Pedro.
He made one bad decision. This guy made a calamitous number
of decisions, right? Yeah, he just kept going. It felt like what's this thing called? A rolling stone.
Okay, fair enough. No. So I think Pedro suffered, man. Let's just leave it there. Pedro suffered.
So let's go straight into what we think about this movie, When Evil Lurks, being a supernatural horror. So Steven, what exactly do you think? I'm going to ask you what you like, but in quick summation, what do you think about When Evil Lurks?
It's a great film, good horror. It's a great watch if you have the time for some eerie stuff. Give this a watch.
Grotesque,
but
actually.
I wouldn't say grotesque. It's more eerie. Oh, there was some. It's not like so. That's not what the film thrives on. Like gory, grotesque. This is not gory, grotesque horror. This is just like some serious stuff happening. And I also like the fact that we're not really utilizing jump scares and all this like evil in the shadows. It's right in your face, you know. It's right there and you have to contend with it. And the fact that this evil is unapologetic about it as well makes it a bit more like eerie and like threatening.
Yeah, very unapologetic.
Yeah, well, I think I liked it. I enjoyed it. It's the type of horror I enjoy. I don't really like all this what's in the shadows, jump scares horror.
Fair, that's actually very fair. Okay, so what particularly do you like about
So
Lurks?
first things first, I have to commend the pacing. Pacing of the film was great. It's non-stop action from the start. I believe it was like the 3rd minute or the 4th minute of the movie. We find out what's going on. Like within the first 10 minutes, we kind of know what we're up against.
Yeah, there was just
and the movie just keeps going and going. It's literally non-stop action, and the film is very confident in the way it handles situations. There are very few dull moments. Like I've had that with horror. So horror is very difficult to create the atmosphere, right?
And to sustain the atmosphere.
Yeah, but then outside of that, being true to your atmosphere but still keeping like a good pace about the film, that was executed perfectly.
I definitely agree with Steven. There wasn't really any dull moments. Everything was like an adrenaline rush. Slightly more. What I mean is, it kept you on your toes.
Yeah.
You know, there were breathers here and there, but it was like predictable. You could predict what was going to happen. So I love that the movie kept the audience.
Could you predict what was going to happen?
You could predict. No, when I say you could predict what was going to happen, for example, when Pedro shows up, because you understand, like you said, there were no gimmicks, no hideouts or whatever.
Oh, I know what you mean. Like, so if you make a poor decision, and the consequences come in, like you knew, okay, the way this movie's been going, nobody gets off the hook here, man. Like if you do something that's not very smart, you will
cause
end
an
up
action. You don't need Sherlock to basically like investigate and say, okay,
this is what's gonna happen.
No dull moments. And that no dull moment made us realize that movie, the timing, like the pacing of the activities, flow of events basically happened in 2 days. I love it.
2-3 days max. 2 days.
2
it's like
days.
a 2-day cycle, yeah. But second day,
basically almost everyone wore 2
they
3
had
days.
They had the same
1-2 costumes at most.
Same costume.
1-2 costumes. Call it like 3 days, you know, of no dull moments. I love how the movie makes use of pressurized time, because like we said earlier, it happened like in a 2-3 day span. You know, it gets you straight into the thick of things.
Yeah.
And getting you straight into the thick of things gradually starts to unravel Pedro and gradually starts to unravel different scenarios linked to the same source. It wasn't hard to understand, because when you start the movie, you realize that, like Steven said behind cam, we were like a day, 2 days to labor. So the movie would take you through experiencing labor pangs. That's why earlier on, Steven literally spoke about the movie, you know, having a great pace, like it keeps you going. There was never a dull moment. So the director, Damien, did a fantastic job with pressurized time to show how to create labor pangs within a horror movie. I'm being metaphorical because I don't want to totally spoil this for you, but basically how to tell a story, you know, that leads up to the main event with zero dull moments and limited time.
Yeah, and I think I also like the fact that he didn't like the exposition happened while we were already at the thick of things. We don't need to see all of that build up.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So yeah, perfect. Great. I love that about the film as well. Yeah. I think also one thing I would add as a final note, the horror feels very biological. So the main characters were targeted by the entity, and it used them to birth this evil. There's no incantations, there's no like rituals or spells. Like it's not one of those types of horrors. It's just like things are happening. There are consequences. We all are aware of the consequences. If we can do certain things, we might get our desired outcome. If we, however, do not do these certain things, we get the evil entity's desired outcome. Very simple. And we just run through that through normal occurrences. They're not trying to find one potion in the middle of the desert. Nah, none of that. It was perfect. The horror was very, very local. It felt very like in the town, very like
it felt like in the town.
Yeah, and it's palpable when you can tell that this entity is after women, children, like it's after things like this. And it was well executed horror.
Beautiful metaphor.
Yeah, and the director
horror.
you commended as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes with horror, the best part of it is the mystery, right? So what we don't know is what really is selling this movie. Once we now know everything, right? Most times the movie falls apart, right? So they're just doing a lot of teasing and withholding and showing you things up until you get to a point, and then they show you the thing and it's like there's nothing else. But when Evil Lurks, in the first 10 minutes, we know exactly what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
And then from then on, we have a complete movie of how this unfolds, and like it's a story here. Fantastic. Great movie.
So speaking about it feeling biological and it feeling like
local,
I mean the name When Evil Lurks. So
exactly, if it's something on your shoulder type of thing. Yeah.
So the fact that movie compelled you to feel that way means that the titling of the movie, Chef's Kiss, basically, they didn't miss the title of the movie. And it's a very metaphorical movie because it shows the birthing of an entity. It shows basically how women and children, especially children, are being taken advantage of and used as a base to birth this entity, because at the end of the day, the entity came out as a child. When Evil Lurks is a very metaphorical movie and a bit gross, but
I would recommend highly.
Yes, likewise, I would recommend, and I commend. Well, there was something you said. There was a guideline though. There was a ritual. There were certain things you shouldn't do, and there's certain things that should have been done that was going to be, done, but wasn't done. And once you watch the movie, you would understand what we mean by that. Anyway, we're going to go on a quick short break. This is still Filmlab reviewing When Evil Lurks. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. This is still Filmlab, where we're reviewing When Evil Lurks. We've said so many interesting things. You can always catch up. Anyway, we've spoken about what we like, but what about the things that we don't necessarily like
about this movie? There's only one, to be honest. This movie is merciless. There's no redeeming qualities. It all just goes to the crappers, man. This movie is... I don't think I can say crappers on TV. It all just ends in doom. I'm sorry if that's the way I'm going to spoil it for you, man. This is doom and gloom. There's no silver lining at the end of the tunnel. There's nothing, man. It's just death and destruction. I'm really sorry.
Personally, I disagree in the sense that I don't think personally for me there's anything that I don't particularly like about the movie. I don't think so.
This is a first though, like for us to have a movie where we don't really not like anything.
I don't think I particularly like. Yeah, Steven doesn't like the fact that it's all gloom and doom, but the actual reality is, honestly,
at least somebody should have had
the reality of things in life.
A redemptive arc. One redemption.
He was given the opportunity. A redemption.
Yeah, they did give. So that is the good thing. So they had the chances.
Yes.
Yeah, the movie gave them chances, but none of them took it.
When it was time to take it, what did Pedro do? Make another bad decision based on what? Emotions. Human beings, we make poor decisions based on how we're feeling in that moment. And Pedro,
so I guess that's the lesson that we've all learned. So like just get your emotions in check.
Get your emotions in check. He could have been redeemed. See, Pedro got to the finish line. Like all he needed to do. Don't spoil it. I'm not spoiling it. All Pedro needed to do, you need to be patient. All Pedro needed to do was to just put his leg over the finish line, like the other leg over the finish line, and it's a wrap. Tick, good decision. But Pedro is Pedro. So I love it about When Evil Lurks. It really shows us like the reality of things, like what people go through and how they suffer and how poor consequences can lead to doom and gloom if you don't fix up your emotions. I love it. Beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful
I think the lesson is not lost within the movie for sure. But I mean, I would have liked. I guess life is not always happy
that's the
endings,
bright
yeah.
side about
Or watching a
the lesson.
supernatural horror. If you're looking for like a happy ending, go and watch like.
No, but there is a happy ending.
Go and watch a Disney
the happy
princess
ending.
movie,
The happy ending is the lesson.
This is really good. I would say this is an 8. This is an 8. This is the first 8. This is a proper 8. This is an 8 out of 10.
Why?
There's nothing wrong with it. I literally
Can't
couldn't
really
find
find
anything wrong with it.
it.
Yeah,
Me
exactly.
too.
So it's 8 over 10.
Same. It's a very comfortable 8. I can't believe I'm agreeing with Steven for the first time.
Let's go.
It's a very, very comfortable 8.
It's been fun.
But why can't we give it a 10 if it's a very good movie?
I beg, please.
Have you thought about that?
I beg.
Have you thought about that?
I don't know.
I feel like Steven is the kind of lecturer that will never give you 100%.
That's not me, man.
Your grade can be spanking.
Why are you
like your
projecting that into my life?
essay can be spanking.
I'm
And
not
Steven
some
is like,
kind of score
wow,
lecturer.
this is a
I
very
beg.
good essay, but I'm gonna give like an 8.5.
I'm not a scorned lecturer. Please.
Maybe a 9.
I could give 10s. when
Maybe
they're
a
10s.
9.
10 over 10 movie. I'll be honest with you, man. 10 over 10 movie. The Godfather Part 2. 10 over 10. 10 over 10 movie. Obviously, the game. Sopranos is 10 over 10.
The series of it.
The game 10 over 10. We need to do it. We'll do a film lab with all the 10 over 10 stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No worries.
It's been a wonderful time on Film Lab. It's a wrap on Film Lab.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been really fun.
It's been wonderful. Do not forget, guys, you have to be part of this conversation. If there are any movies that you would love us to review, hit us up. Our social media platforms showing on your screen right now and our phone number. Send a text or DM us. Okay? We'd love to hear from you.
Hey guys.
Any last remarks?
Yeah, watch When Evil Lurks, man. Watch it. See you guys next time.
How would you, quick, what would you recommend? Like, would you recommend them to watch it alone?
You cannot watch this movie alone, man. Watch
Why?
it with someone, please, and watch it like in the evening. Don't watch it too late at night, please. Evening time with like a bunch of people, not even like you and one other person. Like, there needs to be like 3-4 man them in the room. Like, it needs to be nice and comfortable.
A community.
Yeah, community. Because if it's just you, man, it might be brutal for you. I'm sorry.
Thresholds
differ as well.
Thresholds differ. But I would say watch it at home. Great movie for a Friday night if you just want to stay home and chill after the tough week. Great movie for a Friday night with a loved one. I agree. All right, guys, it's been a pleasure. Red Black Woman here.
Steven.
Until next time, be safe.
See ya.